G'day, hi, and welcome. Are your performances memorable? Okay, I'm going to kind of shoot myself in the foot a little bit here, and I'm going to say most of the stuff that I produce, uh, of me like playing my guitars and stuff like that, just racket and noise, or even the drums, whatever. It's not memorable. It's just stuff that, okay, here's me dinging along on a video, give you something to watch, mindless entertainment, right? But what happens when you go to the stage? Well, obviously, when you go to the stage, you can't noodle, you can't wing it all the time. I mean, sometimes you can improvise, sure, but there's a difference between winging it and improvising, right? Improvising, you actually kind of know what you're doing. You're improvising in a key or something like that, and or if you're on the drums or the bass, like okay, well, you're just playing along and winging it, and or improvising it, so it's like what you're playing. You didn't practice it or whatever, and you're just okay, well, the guy's in the key of E, okay, E standard, he's in E standard, okay, fine, I'll play whatever licks work in E standard. And last night I kind of did something like that with the mandolin. Now my mandolin was slightly out, so I don't know, I haven't heard the recording yet if it was really out. I was kind of like half, like a quarter step out. So I couldn't really do much with the mandolin last night because it was just a quick improvisation jam where there was, people playing, and if you just jumped in if you could. And I sort of was able to get away with a little bit of it. But that there is not going to be memorable, right? That's not going to be memorable. So what about the year before? Well, I had somebody ask me or tell me last night, and they're like, because we have our like annual fish fry, and this year there was a lot of musicians showed up. It was pretty cool. I didn't bring the drums out or anything like that. I only got to play a couple of songs with the mandolin. That was it, along with the other guys, because there were so many people that let them play, right? But one of the guys was saying he was still going on about the performance I put on last year. He goes, I've never heard anybody play acoustic guitar like that and sing like that at the same time. At one of these jamboree, like one of these fish fries or anything like that. He goes, you were the best I've ever heard. You know what I mean? And that means a lot. Now, was I don't know, but the guy, the person really enjoyed it, right? They really enjoyed that performance. And I think I did, memory serves me correct, I did, it was on the 12 string. I know that. It wasn't my 12 string. It was the other guy's 12 string. And I did Take Me Home by Phil Collins, Till You Can't by, the song's called Till You Can't. I did, I think, Simple Man. I think I did Broken Heartsville and something else. And then I did like a little medley or whatever. And I kind of like stole the show a little bit, right? And there was a few people that said, "Oh, you were the guy at the fish fry. Oh man, you were so good," like and stuff like that. And I'm not stroking my ego here. I'm just saying I put on a performance that people remembered. Now, when I did a mandolin performance, even though my mandolin kind of slightly went out because I broke a string, and the night before, and of course when you tune a mandolin, like if you got a gig coming up, don't change the strings until after the gig. Like don't change mandolin strings before a gig. You're asking for trouble. Why? Because mandolin strings are so strange. You think they're completely stretched and they're going to stay in tune, and then suddenly halfway through the first song, one string just decides to go clink, and it completely stretches out of tune, and it really stands out. And I did a song by Sabaton called Bismarck, about the big battleship Bismarck. And I did a kind of like a little monologue before I got into the song. And I did it. And the audience at the time, they watched it. And you can see the video of it on my channel. You don't hear them hooting and hollering and stuff like that throughout the song, whatever. In fact, the audience was quite quiet, whatever. But they were quiet for one reason, because they were like, ooh, there's a story being told here, right? So I did that song, and again, the mandolin was being a bit finicky on me and whatever, so it was a little out, and there's nothing to do about it. But the performance was good. The performance was really good. And I had people weeks later come up to me when I went back back, to play at the jam night, and they came up to me and they're like, that thing you did with the mandolin with the battleship and blah blah blah, that was amazing. You know what I mean? And for somebody to remember something you played even a week later, okay, is a memorable performance. And most people don't remember. They go see a live band. How was the band last night? Oh, they're really good. What did they play? Oh, a couple of songs we knew. What songs? I don't know. But when they're like, oh, that song. Even if they don't know the name of it, but that song about the battleship or whatever. He plays like these pirate songs and stuff like that, and people remember it because of the performance. So make sure your performance is adequate. And I'll use the theory that the band Sugarland with Christian Bush and Jennifer Nettles, and they were in an interview, and they were asked something along the lines of how did you how did you come up with the show you come up with and stuff like that. And Christian Bush, he goes, well, first off, we wanted to write like really feel good songs, right? And that's what they did. And, just for people to really enjoy, let off some steam, just, put everybody in a happy mood, right? But they said they wanted to have a show that if they were going to go see this show live themselves, what would they want to see? Right. And I'm like, that is a great philosophy. So I'm not saying you have to put on a big grandiose show. What I'm saying is you have to put on a performance working with whatever you have. So if you're just a guy with an acoustic guitar or a mandolin or whatever it is, that's what you're going to do. If you're the bass player, if you're the drummer, whatever, you're going to put on a show and you're going to interact with the audience, because when you do, that's when people remember you. And that, I think, is the best thing you can do, because it gets people demanding you back at a place. So if you want to get a gig somewhere and they're like, oh, that guy, because maybe the bar owner doesn't like your style of music, that I've had that, but the people are demanding you. They're saying, yeah, get that guy back, because that brings out a crowd, right? And trust me, they'll like the band that brings out the crowd more than anything, because that crowd equals money, right? So put on a good performance. It almost doesn't really, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what song you play. It really doesn't. You don't have to just play the songs that everybody knows. Play stuff people have never heard of before, but explain the song as you go. I think that's a good topic for another video. So anyway, yeah, make sure whenever you're performing live, you're giving them a bit of a show, something to remember. Because it's really cool to have people a year, 2 years later come up and talk about something they watched you do 2 years ago. That's really cool. Anyway, there you go. Just thought I'd bring that up.